What's up, Bama Insider Nation? Trey Kennedy here for a new series we're going to run through the end of the month called Two Biggest Storylines, where we highlight the two biggest questions around all of Alabama football's position groups. Before we get started with video number one, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and check out the rest of the YouTube page for all things Alabama Crimson Tide football. The first storyline we have to follow: how will Bryce Young command this offense, and how is that going to differ from Mac Jones? Well, just their play styles is a very easy way to look at this. Bryce Young is dual threat in the truest sense. His favorite quarterback is Aaron Rodgers because he keeps his eyes downfield and extends plays. You're going to see Bryce run much more than Mac did. He's going to scramble with much more similar style to Tua Tagovailoa rather than Mac Jones. He's very elusive. He's good out of the pocket, and he feels comfortable in collapsing situations. I personally don't expect to see quite as many deep balls this year. That was Mac Jones' specialty this past season, and he had a bit of a different receiving core as well. On this receiving core, I see Jameson Williams as that candidate for the deep ball when they decide to throw it. He has the vertical speed, and I think they will test Bryce's arm at points in the season. Another big thing, we're going to see him try to extend more plays than Mac did. Sometimes you saw Mac play it safe and throw the ball out of bounds, or check it down, throw it away. I think we see Bryce try to extend some plays, or maybe throw downfield in some pressure situations. And I'm not saying these are going to be bad decisions that he's making, he's just more comfortable under pressure. Bryce Young is going to have a much different wide receiving core to work with, which is going to change things as well. He's not going to have Devontae Smith, but he will have John Mechie, and he will have some youngsters that are very athletic and have a lot of talent. His offensive line is going to be a lot different. Evan Neal is going to be the centerpiece of this line, but he won't have Landon Nickerson to work with, and he will have to rely on a couple different dudes at the center position. Mac Jones was a Heisman finalist, and I don't necessarily think we see that right away. But I think by the end of his college career, he could get to that point, and I think this season is the one that he really establishes himself with. Now, of course, last year's offense was tailored to Mac Jones and that receiving core. This year's offense is going to be tailored to Bryce Young and what he can do with this receiving core. This offense is going to look a bit different. At times, Bama is going to run two tight ends, Cameron Latu and Jahleel Billingsley. And I think we see the tight ends a little bit more involved this year. I also think we see the ball check down to the running back more often, and more designed quick throws like that. Professional scout Keith Smith compared Bryce Young to Russell Wilson, and he said he has the energy of Johnny Manziel. There's some big shoes to fill, but Bryce Young coming into this season, replacing Mac Jones, is going to bring a different style, a dual threat style, and I think he has the potential to live up to that hype. The second storyline we're going to talk about, Bryce Young's biggest strengths coming into 2021. Bryce Young's biggest strength, I gotta say his legs. I take those over his arm at this point. Bryce Young has that quick twitch ability. He's very evasive in the pocket and has such a great ability to extend plays and escape like we just talked about a second ago. I think Tua Tagovailoa really is a good comparison of how we're going to see this offense work with Bryce Young. He's going to be out of the pocket a good bit, and he's going to have to make some throws that are under pressure. But his legs, the ability to extend plays, the ability to play like Aaron Rodgers, his favorite player, is going to be key for Alabama when they need a first down or they need him to rush for 5 or 6 yards. That's not something we saw Mac Jones have the ability to do. My next point is that Bryce has gotten physically bigger. That's something that we've really paid close attention to this offseason and was a big question mark last season. Can he see over the line well enough? Is he going to be physical enough to take hits, to play in this league? He has gotten bigger. And while you can't change height, Bryce Young is still listed at 6 foot on the roster and now at 194 pounds. And continues to work with Matt Ray and David Ballou to get stronger while keeping that athleticism. Next thing I want to talk about, people sleeping on Bryce Young's arm. It was easy to do last season. He threw an interception. He was sacked more times than Mac Jones in his limited playing time because he couldn't get the ball away. We saw his one touchdown pass thrown a little bit behind his receiver. All of these things kind of left you weary of what Bryce Young is going to be able to do with the arm. But I think all of this is just smoke and mirrors. Bryce Young has a very, very talented arm. Last year we saw him force throws. We saw him uncomfortable in the pocket at times. Still playing like he was a freshman. Still not really trusting in that arm. I think there's a lot of untapped potential there. And he has a receiving core that has all kinds of different talent. A receiving core that's more of his receiving core. I think a receiving core that's going to make him feel a bit more comfortable. And not only that, guys, but Bryce Young is a smart quarterback. He's had the chance to work with Bill O Brien, who, as you may know, is fresh out of the NFL. He was the head coach of the Texans not even a season ago. He has been primarily working with Bryce Young and the quarterbacks as well while allowing Doug Marrone, a former NFL head coach as well, to coach the offensive line and help the offense as a whole. Bill O Brien has been tailoring this offense to Bryce Young, and Bryce Young has been very receptive of what Bill O Brien has had to teach him. I think these two coming together could change everything for Bryce Young's career at Alabama, and we knew this was going to be the case. Bill O Brien told the media when he was first hired his first project was going to be Bryce Young, and I think he's trying to find that perfect balance of arm and legs. And while Bryce Young tries to do the same, he understands that getting both his arm and his legs at a Power 5 level is crucial in his play style. He was quoted as saying, "People hear dual threat and they think of someone who is a better runner or running back playing quarterback. I don't feel like that should take away from my throwing ability. It should be about being equal, being able to do both at a very high level." Bryce Young knows what he's capable of, and he was the number one quarterback in the country coming into Alabama, and of course the number one dual threat quarterback, and that wasn't just because of his legs. He had some obvious weak points coming in, but this team has worked to address those, worked to get that arm better. And I think it's obvious this past spring was a big one for Bryce Young, as he really started to show Alabama fans and the coaches what he's capable of. He was named A-Day MVP, threw a touchdown in that game, and in the scrimmages as well had at least one passing touchdown in each of them. After that A-Day game, Nick Saban gave his thoughts on Bryce Young and his overall improvement throughout the spring.
I think he did a good job today. I think that probably in a game like today, there's a lot more drop back passes just by the way you sort of plan the game. You have a minimal number of plays that you're going to run in the game. So probably some of the issues that we have in the offensive line with guys missing, the pocket collapses on him, and he was in some tough situations relative to that. But I think he's done a really good job all spring. We continue to work on, him kind of having a presence out there that affects other people in a positive way. And I think he's starting to get more and more respect from the other players by the way he plays. But every scrimmage we had, he performed very, very well.
Now, Paul Tyson is listed as the number 2 quarterback on the depth chart and will be the immediate backup this season, while Jalen Milroe is listed as the 3rd string and will wait in the wings, which adds more responsibility for Bryce Young, being that he's going to kind of have to play that role of teacher to Jalen Milroe, the potential quarterback of the future at Alabama. But like I said, Paul Tyson is the number 2 quarterback on the depth chart, and he has progressively seen improvement throughout the spring as well. Really come onto the scene and emerged as that clear-cut number 2 quarterback. For a minute, thought that he might have a shot at gaining the number 1 spot on the depth chart. And of course, if something crazy were to happen this season, Paul Tyson will be the next guy in line. This team is in good shape with Bryce Young at the helm, and he looks to follow in the footsteps of Mac Jones and live up to the number 1 overall recruit hype he once had. For more information on Bryce Young, the rest of this Alabama football team, and all things Alabama Crimson Tide athletics, check out the rest of our YouTube page. Hit the like button, subscribe, and go to BamaInsider.com. Like I said at the top of the video, guys, this is a new series we're going to be starting called 2 Biggest Storylines. The quarterback room is our first. We'll head over to the defense for tomorrow's video, as we continue to get closer to fall practice. For BamaInsider.com, my name is Trey Yanity. This has been a 2 Biggest Storylines report on the quarterback room at Alabama.